So venture capital comes down to four things, and I'll get into why I don't think number 4 is that important, but it comes down to, do you see the right deals? Can you pick the right deals? Can you get into the right deals? And then part 4 is, do you help the company, after you're in the deal? And I actually think that's the least important part, and I can get into why later, but those first 3 parts are ridiculously important. So all that we do with the angel community, and Cyan is actually leading this, for us, is so important, because there's no way as individuals you can see everything. And people in this audience, people all around, are going to see things that we would never otherwise see, that are not in our backyard, that are not in our fields of expertise, but that could still be ridiculously good companies. And so we embrace that. Cyan is like having an event with these people, with people like, this is a huge part of the ecosystem, is angel investing. It's very important.
When do you want to see a company? So, when we see each other and run into each other at the movies or something, and you say like, so what are you working on? And like, what companies do you like? And I give you 2 of them. They're immediately in your office, and you're meeting with them in the next 2 weeks. But what is, aside from, hey, you trust the angel, what is a criteria for a founders fund investment, if you had to think about it?
Oh, yeah. So it's a great question, because since we are so stage agnostic and sector agnostic, it's not like I can say, oh, we're looking for Series Bs in health space or whatever. That's not a thing. And this is where we are all individuals, and everybody at Founders Fund can kind of run their own strategy. And we encourage everybody at Founders Fund to run their own strategy, and those could be very different. Like Cyan has a very different strategy than me. That's great. I don't know which one of those is going to be right. I know Cyan is ridiculously good, so that'll make us some money, and I think that I can do this stuff too. But for me personally, I'm looking for anything that I think is extremely important for the world that has an existing moat, right? Not if they do this and this and this, then it'll be really good, but something that has an existing moat of some type. And that can be early or late.
Unpack the moat concept a bit. We know what the term means, but in today's world, give us some examples of moats. Maybe starting with that slide, where are the moats?
Sure, yeah. So StemCentrix, we didn't angel invest in StemCentrix. Let's be clear. Our first check was like around 35 million. That was at a $300 million valuation. This was a company that had already shown efficacy. Not in humans yet. That was the next stage, and that's what got them the big price tag. But they had shown efficacy in mice, and we really dug into their mouse model and thought that was going to work. In other words, we had never seen a company that would actually cure solid tumors in small cell lung cancer before. We'd never seen that. In other words, that was proven to us. So that's a clear example of an existing moat. SpaceX. Okay, when we invested in SpaceX in 2008, they had 3 rocket launches, all failures. But hey, at least they had built a company that could have a rocket launch, right? Good luck trying to clone that. So one of the things I like to say, and not in, for press or whatever, is like anything that a Y Combinator company can clone in 3 days, where I'm probably not going to be interested in. Good luck trying to clone SpaceX, right?
Yeah.
Like Airbnb is another classic example here. We didn't seed invest in Airbnb. It was way too we saw it. We screwed up by not investing, but it was way too easy to clone then. Doesn't matter. We have no FOMO. Right? I'm not going to say, oh man, we missed out on the Airbnb early stage, so that means we shouldn't do anymore. No. So we came in and put in $150 million in Airbnb at the $2.5 billion valuation round. And that's because we had seen at that point, there was literally no competition for Airbnb. We're big investors in Lyft. There's tons of competition for Lyft. There's tons of competition for Uber. There's literally no competition for Airbnb in that regard.
They have a network effect going.
It was so strong. Same with Facebook, when we put all the money in, right? It was so strong. So, those are just some examples of what I mean by existing moat. Oscar, we actually invested in
What is that?
So Oscar is a health insurance company on the Affordable Care Act, the company's based out of New York. We invested in Oscar early, and that's because they had gotten approval to be on the Affordable Care Act exchange. This is not something that any random startup can do. Lots of startups build tech for health companies or tech for health insurance companies. You can't get the approval. I was telling people at dinner last night, to be on the board of this company, I had my, both of my hands fingerprinted hardcore by a government official. Insurance is so highly regulated to do that. So we invested in that early because they had already gotten that approval, and that's hard to do.
I want to first thank my friend Scott Walker for supporting startups, not just supporting This Week in Startups, but startups themselves. Walker Corporate Law, as you know, is a boutique law firm that specializes in the representation of entrepreneurs and startups. That's what they do. And they encourage fixed fees. What's that? They give you a fixed price. You know what you're going to pay to do your startup financing, to do your corporate formation, to do your trademarks, to do whatever you need to do, employee stock option plan, licensing, mergers, acquisitions, terms of service, privacy policies, all those things that are check boxes for your startup. They do with lawyers that have decades of experience, 10, 20 years. No junior associates getting on the job training, and they specialize in startups. That's why they're so good at it. That's why they can give you fixed fees, and they're really in it for the right reason. Scott Walker comes to all of our events. He's a real true mensch, and he spends a lot of time talking to founders, and you can call him directly right now, 415-979-9998. 415, that's San Francisco, 979-9998. Or you can email him, scott@walkercorporatelaw.com, scott@walkercorporatelaw.com, or visit walkercorporatelaw.com. Scott's a great guy. Tell him your Uncle Jason sent you, and he'll take care of you. Okay. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.